Hi, this is Ajay Anand and welcome to Science classes from excelup.com. In this lesson, you will learn about animal tissues and especially about epithelial tissues. This lesson has been taken from class 11th biology. You must have read in your earlier classes that a group of cells which performs a particular function, a specialized function, is called a tissue. There are 4 types of animal tissue, and they are: number 1 is epithelial tissue, number 2 connective tissue, number 3 muscular tissue, and number 4 neural tissue. The epithelial tissue, it makes the covering of various organs. For example, the skin. This is an example of epithelial tissue. The lining inside our mouth or inside the intestine, all of them, they are epithelial tissue. The connective tissue connects various organs. So, for example, ligaments and tendons, they connect different organs. Or the layer of fat between organs, it serves the role of connecting a particular organ or keeping the organ in place. Muscular tissue facilitates movement. So, when you move your hand or your feet, the movement happens because of the muscles. Neural tissues, they facilitate nervous control and coordination. Epithelial tissue. In case of epithelial tissue, the cells are compactly packed. There are no gaps between the cells, and there is little intercellular matrix in epithelial tissue. The epithelial tissue always has a free surface which can be towards a body fluid or towards the external environment. So, let us take the example of skin. The free surface of skin faces the external environment, and if we take the example of inner lining of an artery, so what happens? The free surface faces the fluid, that is blood, inside the artery. There are 2 types of epithelial tissue. One is simple epithelium and second is compound epithelium. The simple epithelium is composed of a single layer of cells, and compound epithelium is composed of 2 or more layers of cells. The simple epithelium makes the lining for body cavities of ducts and tubes, and compound epithelium, it has a protective function. So, for example, skin has a protective function. You may not be aware at this stage that skin is the first line of defense of our body. It prevents many microbes and so many things from entering the body. So, it makes a natural barrier and protects the internal organs. There are 3 types of simple epithelium. Number 1 is squamous epithelium, then cuboidal epithelium, and columnar epithelium. This nomenclature has been based on the shape of constituent cells of the epithelium. In case of squamous epithelium, the cells are thin. They are more or less spindle shaped, or they can be of other shapes also, but they are thin. In case of cuboidal epithelium, the cells are of cube shape, and in case of columnar epithelium, cells are in the shape of column, like pillars. So, because of the shapes, the squamous epithelium is very thin, cuboidal epithelium is thicker than squamous epithelium, and columnar epithelium is thickest among the 3. The squamous epithelium is found in air sacs, that is alveoli in the lungs and in the lining of blood vessels, and because it is a thin layer, so it makes a diffusion boundary. So, exchange of materials takes place through squamous epithelium. So, let us take the example of alveoli. What happens in alveoli? There is exchange of gases. So, oxygen goes out of the alveolus and carbon dioxide comes in. Carbon dioxide goes out and oxygen comes in. Cuboidal epithelium is found in ducts of glands, in tubular parts of nephron, and its function is secretion and absorption. Columnar epithelium is found in lining of stomach, intestine. Some of the columnar epithelium, they may have microvilli. For example, in small intestine, there are villi and which absorb the nutrients once digestion has taken place. So here also the function is secretion and absorption. In some of the columnar epithelium, cilia are present, and these cilia, they move particles or mucus in a particular direction. So for example, in case of bronchioles, the cilia, they expel the dust particles and other unwanted material out of the body. They don't allow them to enter the lungs. In case of fallopian tubules, the cilia, they facilitate the movement of eggs towards the uterus. Okay. Glandular epithelium. Some of the columnar or cuboidal epithelium, they become specialized and they perform the role of glands. They secrete some substances. These are called glandular epithelium. There are two types, unicellular and multicellular. So in case of unicellular, a gland is composed of a single cell. So this is a cell, this is the nucleus, and this is the glandular portion. This is another cell, this is the gland. Example is goblet cells of alimentary canal. In case of multicellular glands, one gland is composed of more than one cell, too many cells. So these are the cells, and this portion which has been shaded in red is the gland. And the example of multicellular gland is salivary gland. There are two types of gland, exocrine gland and endocrine gland. The glands which have tubes or ducts, they are called exocrine glands. They secrete the substances in the tube, through the tube. And mucus, saliva, earwax, oil, milk, enzymes, etc. they are secreted by exocrine glands. Endocrine glands, they do not have ducts. They are ductless glands. So hormones are secreted by endocrine glands, and endocrine glands directly pour their secretions in the fluid which is bathing the particular gland, and after that the hormone, it reaches the bloodstream. Compound epithelium. As I have said earlier, that compound epithelium is composed of more than one layers of cells. So there can be two layers or more layers. So because of too many layers, this is also called stratified epithelium, because layers, strata means layer. Compound epithelium is found on the dry surface of skin, on moist surface of buccal cavity, pharynx, in inner linings of ducts of salivary gland, and in pancreatic duct. The pancreatic duct, it connects pancreas to the small intestine, and it carries the secretion of pancreas to the digestive system for digestion to take place. Structure of epithelium. The cells in epithelium, they are held together with little intercellular material. So there are negligible gaps in between the cells. And in all the tissues in animals, there are specialized junctions between individual cells. These junctions are of three types. Number one is tight junction, number two is adhering junction, and number three is gap junction. The tight junction, it stops substances from leaking through the tissue. The adhering junction, it keeps the neighboring cells glued together. So it plays the role of a cement or glue. The gap junction, it facilitates exchange of substances. That's all for this lesson. Thank you.